but I didn't get it early enough to get the +3, so I'm going to wait a little bit on this. But, everyone thought Fresno State when they went to Boise, and Boise won. Smurf turf throws you off. Troy, plus 10.5 at Appalachian State. Another big rivalry. UAB went from +2 to -2 at Middle Tennessee State. And it was quick. I saw it at -2, which, like I said, we took Middle Tennessee State before at +2. We discussed that one enough. Cal, -11 to -12.5, hosting Colorado, who just fired McIntyre, their coach. I hate betting against teams that fire their coach. Stanford, -6.5 at UCLA. Sharp money on them. Baylor, +7 to +6.5, hosting Texas Tech. Sharp money on San Jose State, +31, at Fresno State. Now, Fresno State, I tried to fade them when they played New Mexico in a bad spot, and they destroyed them. So not so excited, but this is a sandwich for Fresno. They need to stay healthy. This one's more important. Probably some good value on San Jose State there. Purdue, -4 at Indiana Sharps. Dual action on Arkansas State, -13 at Texas State. Alabama, -24, hosting Auburn. Sharps on Alabama. And San Diego State, -16 to -17, hosting Hawaii. Sharp totals. Mississippi State versus Ole Miss, over 59. East Carolina versus Cincinnati, under 52. Yuck. Cincinnati might get that on the ground. They've done it before. Texas versus Kansas, under 51 to 49. I think it's going to be some weather that game. Oregon versus Oregon State, over 68.5 to 69. I just looked at a weather report and it wasn't looking that great for Oregon State there. Houston versus Memphis, under 76. Aha. We discussed that one. Washington versus Washington State, under from 54 down to 49. Not touching that thing. South Carolina versus Clemson, over 58.5. Syracuse versus Boston College, under 57.5. There's dual action on the Michigan versus Ohio State under, down from 59 to 56.5. I agree with that move. Pissed that I didn't take it earlier. Georgia Tech versus Georgia, under 69.5. Texas Tech versus Baylor, under 65, a 71-point difference. Now, who would have thought that a Texas Tech Baylor game would have sharp on the under there? I wouldn't go that way, and it might be because of both teams' inefficiencies, second-string quarterbacks and stuff like that. Baylor, they're fast. Both teams are very fast, but they just kind of screw up. I have to go over in this thing. That's the only way I would lean on this one, is over. Sorry. Auburn versus Alabama, over 52.5. I'm going to cover some sharp NFL real quick before we get into the NFL. Atlanta, plus 14.5 down to plus 13 at New Orleans. A lot of sharps on that. Buffalo, plus 3.5 down to plus 3, hosting Jacksonville. There's a 39% percentage point difference between the number of tickets and the amount of money. The more tickets on Jacksonville, more money on Buffalo. San Francisco, plus 3 at Tampa Bay. So I think that they probably believe in their new quarterback there, Mullins. They're sharp on money on the over. San Francisco at Tampa Bay, over 55. So I have to lean Tampa Bay there. I don't know. San Francisco's got a lot of problems this year. Great coach, though. Then they're sharp on the Arizona versus Chargers, under 45 points. Let's get into our NFL plays. Before we get into the NFL, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to all you listeners out there. Want to thank you for being there for us on our 100th episode. You've been great tweeting at us, listening to me talk forever about sports and betting and spots and all these kind of different trends that we try to cover, try to just give you as much information. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the camaraderie we received, the growth, and everything. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Love the fact that you guys are so engaged, and hope you and your families have a wonderful weekend. All right, let's get into a little bit of NFL here, right? So Jacksonville versus Buffalo, plus 3.5. Well, now it's 3. Okay, we hit this one early, right? But I must say, if you think the Bills are the most disappointing team in the NFL, then you're definitely wrong. You see, in order to be a disappointment, you have to have higher expectations and then completely fail. Just like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are 3-7. Blake Bortles has proved to be only decent on short throws, 3-step drops. Any tight defense should be able to take them out. Not only that, Jacksonville just injured 2 more offensive tackles. They have 2 out for the season and just injured 2 more. And they may be down to a completely garbage practice squad style third string. Okay? Not good when playing the team that is ranked second in defensive efficiency. That's right. The Bills rank second in defensive efficiency. A little bit of that stat is some teams running them out in the fourth quarter, running the clock. But still, when I watch the Bears play them, when I watch the Titans play them, I've seen a hell of a lot of good defense. I also like the fact that Matt Barkley is a very good backup quarterback who destroyed the Jets last week, 2 weeks ago, really. And maybe starting this game, if not Josh Allen. Now, I believe Josh Allen's going to start. I prefer Matt Barkley in the experience here personally to Josh Allen. But either way, I still like the side. Both huge upgrades for Josh Allen and Matt Barkley over Anderson and Peterman, right? I mean, Peterman, you wonder how the hell he was in the NFL. I've seen worse, though. Tolzien, there's a few worse out there. But anyways, both of these teams are terrible in offense and great on defense. That's the low total right there. Was it 37? So low totals, they favor the dog, and they certainly favor the home dog. Sean McDermott's a very good coach who lost a lot last year and now should be trending up. Coming off the bye week, I have Buffalo winning this game, according to my algorithm, 20-17. It's 20-17.5, but whatever. Buffalo's going to win this sucker outright. Take Buffalo plus 3 in the money line, or whatever way you'd like to spin it. Cincinnati versus Cleveland. Cleveland getting 3 points at home. Rivalry. So how many points did you upgrade Cleveland for firing their terrible coach, Hugh Jackson, and Todd Haley, their offensive coordinator? Well, I hope it was a lot, because you have to also factor in the guy replacing Todd Haley. Freddie Kitchens was a disciple of Bruce Arians and Harold Goodwin. Remember that Cardinals offense with Carson Palmer at the helm, Fitzgerald, John Brown? Remember them? That's where Kitchens came from. I basically upgraded the Browns 2.5 points after they fired Hugh Jackson. And go ahead and throw an extra point their way for the bye week here if you'd like. But Cincinnati has a lot of injuries, had a lot of injury woes. They have some more healthy, but they have had a terrible defense that Andy Dalton consistently has to make up for. The Browns beating the Falcons 2 weeks back. That wasn't a fluke. That was Baker Mayfield getting his feet settled. You know, he's definitely getting better. He's more poised back there. He knows the plays now. Expect some new nuggets with this Browns team here on offense after the bye week. And like I said, I love being on teams after the bye. Here's the kicker among all kickers here for the game. Okay. Cleveland leads the matchup in yards per game, 355 to 330, and they lead the matchup in defensive yards allowed, 420 to 450. And they're at home. The wrong team is favored here, especially if A.J. Green remains out for the Bengals. The only reason they're dogs is because of their name, Cleveland. Cleveland is the right side on this one, and I would say a decent-sized bet on the side in the money line is definitely worth it here. All right. Green Bay versus Minnesota. -3, little juice, maybe -3.5. It's down to -3 in some books. This is kind of a strange line here. The Packers tied the Vikings at home this year, so, let's just say the same players, same situation. That would say the Vikings would be favored by 6 points, right? That's what it would say. But there's games that have been played since and everything. But you saw how important a guy like Akeem Hicks was to stopping the Vikings. It was extremely important stuff in the run there. He got to the quarterback, drew some penalties. The closest thing the Packers had to Akeem Hicks was Muhammad Wilkerson. And they lost Muhammad Wilkerson for the season and has not, against the Redskins, I believe, and they did not find a proper replacement for him, okay? Their pass rush really hasn't been there this year with Clay Matthews. I mentioned this to show you how important it was to stop the Vikings run game and not let them open up the pass here. It was the trenches. So you got the Vikings getting more healthy and the Packers not getting healthy, yet this says 3 points at home at Minnesota. Well, there's more to this, really. There's an unconventional handicap here. This game is about one major thing here. The locker room. I will say this again. The locker room. Okay. Here's where I'm going with this one. The Packers have always been about one guy. This guy may be great. He might be one of the best. And he also may not be too likable, unlike his predecessor. So if you have this one guy on the Packers, I don't think I have to mention his name, that just got a guaranteed $100 million and over $30 million per year, while most of the other Packers are around $500K league minimum, some a little bit more, right? But I believe this feeds into a bigger issue with this team. Remember when Brandon Bostic messed up that onside kick that partially cost the Packers the NFC Championship game? Okay? And mostly did, maybe. What happened after that? The Packers dumped him. Pretty much ruined his career. Didn't have his back. You're not my brother. Get the hell out of this family. That's what they did to Brandon Bostic, right? That's how pissed off they were at Brandon Bostic. Because, that's kind of like how they think about their team. A side note here, I actually met Brandon Bostic a couple months later at the airport. He was flying to try out with the Vikings, and, not that he cares or anything, but I told him not to worry about nothing and go kick some ass. But seemed like a really nice guy. That's what happened to this guy, right? Now you have Ty Montgomery. What happened there? Ty Montgomery tries to make a play for his team. Wasn't sure where he caught the ball, close to the edge of the end zone. Takes it out and fumbles the ball. And what happens? The Packers trade him within hours and move on like the guy has some terrible contagious